Hey guys, we're back. It's John.
Hey, it's Paul.
It's quiet. No, Eric is out of town.
No Eric today.
So today is May 21st. It's the weekend or the week before Memorial Day weekend. There you go. Speak English. Eric's out of town, so we're gonna miss him. So we're kind of going old school.
That's right.
It's just me and Paul tonight.
The OGs.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun, bullshit, and we'll see. We'll try to lead something into Memorial Day and military. We'll try to figure it out. But let's see. As far as intros go, right before you got here, I read Avengers Endgame now is up to number 2, both domestically and internationally. So it's at 771 million domestically, right behind Star Wars: Force Awakens.
So Force Awakens is the number 1 all-time domestic box office?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And you sound low. You sound low with me. Sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm not low. I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
No, now you're here. Okay. Say something again?
Something again?
There you go. Okay. I think
Okay.
you're a little better. I guess we'll figure it out later. So Endgame is sitting at 771 million, and Force Awakens is at 937 million. Now, I know it's been, what, like 4 weeks now? A month?
That Endgame's been out?
Yeah.
It's been that long?
It was...
Almost.
Almost.
The 26th,
Yeah, so,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
so it's
yeah.
almost a month. I mean, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure it's still got some legs to it. It's going to go for a little while longer. It just got knocked off at number 1 in the box office, weekly box office, by John Wick 3.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think it's still going to sit there making millions every week for a little while. But I don't know if it can catch Force Awakens. That's kind of, it's a good jump there. I don't know. I mean, domestic, they kind of go back and forth.
I figure if everybody who reads sort of fan fiction and fan theories and stuff needs to go see it again to figure out little things like, I didn't know Howard the Duck was in one of the fight scenes.
Right.
I want to go back and, I don't know if I'll go back and see it again, but I would do it to sort of see that stuff that I missed.
Yeah, I would go back and see it again, just to help it.
Right.
I just want to see it do it. Now, the flip side of that, the international one, seems better. Obviously, it's just doing crazy numbers anyway. But globally, it's sitting at 2.62 billion, and it's right behind Avatar. Avatar is at 2.78 billion.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, you're talking. Really, if you get your domestic numbers up, you've caught up with Avatar. Kind of, not doing really shitty math right there. That's but yeah, you're pretty close to catching Avatar.
I'm going to say something unpopular. Avatar's overrated. Visually, it was amazing, right? I get all that. But essentially, the storyline is Dances with Wolves / Last Samurai.
It is, yeah.
No part of that's original, other than, the island, the world of Pandora and all that stuff. But essentially, the story is Dances with Wolves.
Yes. Yeah, and I agree with you. And that was the first thing that everybody said about it, too. So, I mean, yeah, we may not be popular, says our 3 listeners.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that's a brave stance of mine, 15 years after the movie came out, or whatever the number was. It's been 10 years?
You fucking rebel.
Brave opinion now, 10 years later.
Way to stand up for yourself. But, yeah, like you said, visually, it's
amazing.
Yeah. It still
Can't
holds
touch it.
up.
Yep.
In fact, if you go on the Flight of Passage, or the ride at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
Flight of Passage,
Yep.
That's sick. It's crazy, but yeah, the movie itself is just it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it was decent, but definitely okay. I watched it once, and I think I watched it in pieces the way I watched it. So I didn't really watch it all the way through, straight through. So I didn't really hold my attention too much. So yeah, so you're not alone in your thought.
Yeah.
But I hope,
and I think the other thing is, I think most people saw it in 3D, which made the ticket more expensive, which is why it's got so much more money.
That's a good point. All right, so everybody beat Thanos' ass in 3D. So there you go. Okay. So,
your second time seeing Avengers, see it in 3D.
Yeah.
Pay more.
That's right. All right, so that's it for Endgame. I just wanted to throw that out there because I saw that right before. I was Googling some other shit, and I saw that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, Florida Man, our intrepid hero. It's been like weeks since you've given your intro to Florida Man.
The worst superhero ever. Yes, Florida Man is, by all accounts, the worst superhero ever. His/her superpower seems to be to get in trouble in the dumbest way possible for the dumbest reason possible, by the dumbest means possible, whether it is hitting your spouse with a burrito, with a pancake, with cookie dough, by getting oral sex from a prostitute and then robbing her and shooting her in the head after you pay her $5 and a bag of chips. We have had stories where Florida Man has gotten really drunk and called the police to check out his bag of weed. We have had guy fake his own robbery because he didn't want to go to his job at fast food. We have had all kinds of crazy stuff Florida Man does, and that is his terrible superpower is doing all things in the worst way possible.
Yep. So now, let's see. Since you've already seen mine, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. That didn't sound right at all. All right, so this is technically a Florida woman or two Florida women or whatever. But the headline was, Dispute over Hedgehog Turns Violent. So,
as they are wont to do.
Yeah, apparently. So this girl, I lost her name here, Emma Davison, 18, was basically arguing with her mother about living arrangements and following directions. That sounds so familiar.
Oh, so she's 6.
Yeah. So now, I mean, okay, so she's 18, so legally I can say this. She's not going to have a problem finding a place to stay.
Right.
I'll just show Paul a picture. So this chick wants to roll out of her house, and when she says she's leaving, she said she's taking the pet hedgehog too. And Mom said, no, you're not, because your younger siblings are the ones that care for it. And then I guess a mild kerfuffle occurred because the girl had to go into her siblings' room to try to get the hedgehog. So, well, there you go. So the mother stopped her. And if you've got to go into your siblings to go get something as you're leaving your house for the final time, then you're probably not going to get it, or you shouldn't be getting it.
Right.
So she wants to take the damn hedgehog, and the cops get called because she starts punching her mother. All the other kids saw this.
Right.
So she beats the hell out of her mother. The cops get called, whatever. She gets pulled away. And then she'll be allowed to go into the house for a one-time visit to a family's home in the presence of law enforcement to retrieve personal items. And then the article says, those belongings will not include the hedgehog, whose name, age, and sex, or number of coins, or rings, are not disclosed.
That's awesome.
So obviously the Robotnik family's doing great.
All right. So my Florida Man headline has something in it that you're going to go, well, how does one do it that way? Florida Man arrested outside Olive Garden after eating pasta belligerently.
Okay, yeah.
How does one eat pasta belligerently, you would ask? This story is from Naples. A drunk Florida man was arrested outside Olive Garden after eating pasta in an inappropriate manner. See, now that's even
worse.
That's right.
This story's going downhill.
According to the Miami Herald, officers with Naples PD were dispatched to the chain restaurant around 3:30 on Sunday. Some man was day drinking, having a little Sunday fun day. And
as you hear my eyes chatter across the mic.
Right. He's repeatedly asking restaurant patrons for money and yelling at them using explicit language. Police discover he's shirtless, of course, sitting on a bench outside the establishment. The man was allegedly shoveling spaghetti into his mouth with his hands.
Yeah, okay, not the way to do it, but sure.
But I don't know if that can be defined as belligerent. Yeah. The man, identified as 32-year-old Ben Padgett, was placed under arrest for disorderly intoxication.
Just staring a hole at the waitress like...
However, before being placed in handcuffs, officers gave Padgett a paper towel so he could wipe the pasta off his face.
See?
That's nice of them.
So there's Florida Man.
There's your pasta.
Belligerent pasta and a fucking hedgehog. That's great.
Oh, speaking of hedgehogs, we talked about, and you showed us the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer.
Yes.
And we all universally said, that looks terrible.
And then, off mic, last week you had said, did you see? I want to capture this on the show because this shows you how stupid I am. We were sitting here, me, you, and Eric, and you said, "Did you see that after the petition, they went back and remade Sonic?" And you had your phone in your hand, and there was a picture on it. I could barely see it, and I said, "All I saw was Sonic behind the little YouTube play button," and I was like, "Holy shit, is that him? He looks amazing now." Yeah. And you said, "No, that's the Macy's Thanksgiving balloon."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I'm an idiot," and Eric just sat there staring at me. So yeah, so that shows you, if you have not seen the original trailer, how horrible it looked. That I thought a still shot of a Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon looked better than that.
Yes. Well, Sonic the Hedgehog movie design to be changed following criticism. Easy for you to say. So apparently, so many people on the internet got pissed that Sonic looks so terrible that they went to social media and complained about how bad he looks. And so director Jeff Fowler has responded. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be.
So now he's a Pokemon.
So now he looks like Pikachu.
I want to be the very best.
So yeah, they are changing up the movie because it looks so bad. Now, the rest of the trailer looked pretty bad. I don't know if they're going to fix all that stuff, but they're apparently going to redesign Sonic.
Well, good, because he looked like every streaker from the Major League Baseball game.
Yeah.
it just looked bad.
Yep.
It was like a pair of sneakers on a naked thing.
Right.
It was really horrible. But now on Sega, on the subject of Sega, just a little bit of trivia that I really didn't know where to throw this in, so this is perfect. Just a random bit that I had heard on the radio. Did you know that the very first Sega, the Master System, was bought by a company in Brazil and is still being produced today? And they're still making new games for it.
Really?
Yeah, so it makes it the longest running console system ever.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, I just heard it on the radio. I was like, are you shitting me?
Right?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Then on a side note, I'm going to have to answer this later on after this show, but just to show you how geeky everybody thinks I am, my oldest son texted me, and here you go. Here's a random question. Hey, what type of shirt does Tony Stark wear in the movies?
I don't know.
Okay, right. It's not a riddle. That also to show you the type of nerd he is. That's the kind of questions he thinks of.
Did you find the answer?
I don't know yet. No, I literally, when I was scrolling for my Florida Man story, I saw I had a text, and then I realized that he wants to know what type of shirt Tony Stark wears in the movie. I'm like, black? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, I don't either.
A T-shirt.
Usually
an A-shirt. It's an A-shirt. It's a wife beater. Not always.
In the first one, when he's in the lab, sort of tinkering around, yeah. I think he does.
Yeah. He's got the wife beater on. So that's going to be my answer to him, just to watch him roll his eyes. But yeah, so those are the type of questions I get. Not like, who's your favorite superhero? No, what type of T-shirt did Tony Stark wear in the movies? That's crazy. So, hey, comment down below if you know the answer. Fuck it, email me if you know the answer. I'm going to try to look it up tonight. All right, on to the next thing. Let's see. Do you want to talk the video game stuff, or do you want to talk Batman?
Let's do you want to do what are you into? What are you reading? What are you watching?
Yeah, okay, sure. Let's see. All right, go ahead. You go, since you've already got your phone open.
So
I think you're looking up Tony Stark.
I am. And I was trying to find the video game story because I emailed it to you on my laptop. So first, what am I reading? So we broke this down into what are we reading, what are we watching, what are we looking forward to? Yeah. And so reading, I got a hold of a compiled graphic novel of several smaller issues of the original Avengers Kree-Skrull War from 1971 when they did it. And so it's sort of hardbound. It's pretty cool. And started reading it, and it's sort of hard to get through.
Right.
Those comics are written, and as you read them, it reads like someone is overacting.
Yeah.
All of the inner thoughts are said out loud, and so that was, I guess, the style at the time before they sort of had characters written dialogue more like it's spoken. But none of this feels like two people or three people having a conversation. It's all very like very formal and very like I have to tell you all of my inner monologue so you understand what I'm going through right now.
Like they're projecting on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
And that they're all William Shatner sort of doing the dramatic overacting. And so you've got like Quicksilver saving Scarlet Witch, and he's like, "Pray that I am fast enough to save you, dear sister." And I was like, oof.
Yeah.
It's a
if
little.
they would have broken that out in Age of Ultron, I'd have pissed myself.
Right. It's just a little bit, and everybody's like that. Everyone's having to explain sort of all the stuff they're feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to get through. But I really like the art and just seeing it and kind of getting that backstory now, having seen right Captain Marvel and Avenger, all this stuff. It's pretty awesome.
All right, cool. So yeah, what am I reading? I'm still reading it because I'm getting ready for chapter 2 to come out. So I'm about like a little more than halfway through it. So I'm enjoying it, just rereading.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, just kind of like whatever articles pop into my. I've been trying to go on reading and watching YouTube videos on fan theories because of Eric's text to us. Eric wants to do, for those of you that obviously are not privy to our behind the scenes shit, Eric wants to do some like a show on fan theories and stuff, which I really think is a good idea. We can kind of like which ones we think are complete bullshit and which ones we think are really cool. So I've been like delving down a rabbit hole. You can just call me Alice because I'm deep in that shit too. So between it and fan theories, it's pretty much taking up like all my reading time. Watching, I finished season 1 of Black Summer. That's the only one that's come out.
Oh, how is that?
It's really good.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. Like I said, it's a zombie-esque show, but more of a rage virus type of zombie. They're fast, and like everybody's infected. As soon as much like Walking Dead, everybody's infected already. Once you die, you become one. So it's kind of cool that way. It kind of combines both worlds, like the rage, fast zombies, and the once you die, you automatically become one. But it's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah,
and I'd like to see where they go from here. So it was a good season, as opposed to some other season finales that may or may not be all over the internet.
Now, does Eric watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
And he watched it Sunday.
Now, I know that he probably wants to have this conversation about the last episode.
So I'm just going to hold my thoughts, I guess, until Eric comes back. And since you're catching up.
Since I'm so far behind, I can just comment on sort of the social phenomena of so many people complaining about the ending. It's hysterical to watch. People flip out and
lose their shit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because almost everyone that I've seen or read talk about it says that this final season should have been 10 episodes and that everything was done so quickly that you were left with, that was it? Really? Like,
yeah,
you've come so far, 8 seasons, 10 years, to get to this and be disappointed sucks. Like, to end on that note.
Yeah, and the way they kind of wrap stuff up, you kind of got that, like, you'll see as stuff go, when you get into it, you'll see, like, you kind of see how, like, where some people wind up with this and that, whatever, they wrap everything up, you see where people go or where they wind up, right? A friend of mine posted on Facebook, and I'll describe it since I'm going to show it to you, but this is pretty much like, she said, I've seen this a lot as a reaction to the Game of Thrones ending. And she's like, it kind of sums up everything I'm feeling right now. And it's one dude who's looking really frustrated, and then he just throws his arms up, and he's like, I guess. Yeah. Like, it wasn't horrible, but it was just like, it was missing something.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with one of my neighbors, too, who was into it. And I think Eric and I briefly kind of touched on it on air, that it seemed once they got away from what Martin had already written and they didn't have that source material right there. Well, while I know they did, like, they left some out here and there, but as long as they were going off of that source material, that show was just going crazy, right? Once it got away from that, like this last season-ish or whatever, it started to kind of dwindle.
Right.
And it kind of just like, so, and you'll see when you get there. It's, again, I would watch it because there were plenty of moments in this season, too, that I was like, that was cool, you know? But then just when they kind of wrap it up, you're like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you see my post on Facebook, the picture of the horse?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes, it's really, like almost like a photograph in the beginning, and the back sort of hunches, and then you get to it, looks like it's drawn by a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And I think back to watching, like, The Sopranos. Another one where I think such an amazing show over the course of the show. Very few times did that show slip in sort of delivering really good storylines and wrapping everything up. And then you get to that final episode and you're just like, really? That's what we're doing?
Yeah.
And you end like, ugh, I sat through this for years for that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll do my watching. This is watched in past tense because it took my son to see Detective Pikachu last week.
Nice.
Yeah. So saw that, enjoyed it. He really liked it. There's a couple of jokes there's a couple of jokes thrown in for parents.
Yeah.
That are taking their kids, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't one of those things. I thought it was going to be like, I'm just going to have to endure this for him, and I'll get some good dad points for taking him to this movie, sure. And I'll daydream about whatever. And
but it was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
Good.
And again, I think Ryan Reynolds does a really good job.
Yeah.
The kid that plays the son, the detective's son, who's trying to find answers.
Is that Will Smith's kid in real life?
I thought it was one of them.
Yeah.
So it looks like him.
Yeah.
Oh, guess we'll have to Google that. But yeah, I think it is. It looks an awful lot like Will Smith. But it was overall it was good, and the couple of different twists that they kind of throw in there, was cool. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I won't ruin it. But there's a couple of twists in there.
We won't spoil Detective Pikachu. We will spoil Avengers.
Yeah, I'll spoil the shit out of Avengers because we can't. You should realize by now that if we're going to geek out over it, then we're going to spoil the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But Detective Pikachu was cool enough just to be like, oh, okay, it was cool. Like, the first, couple of minutes was Noah going, oh, there's Mankey.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Charmander. Oh, this is this. I was like, are you going to do this for 2 hours?
I said the same thing to Coleman. He kept going, that's a so-and-so, and that's a so-and-so. I'm like, all right, I got it. Then he got into the story. He stopped. Yeah.
But yeah, there were a couple times you can see him go like, oh, he saw like the Greninja or the whatever the little frog ninja looking things that were running around there.
Right.
He loves that guy. Whatever, because it's a ninja, I guess. I don't know. But he likes him a lot. So yeah, we loved that movie. It was really cool.
It was pretty cool. I liked Psyduck. I like the idea
Psyduck
that he's
was
just going to explode.
Yeah, that was so hilarious. And just Pikachu trying to keep him calm.
Yeah. Calm down. Psyduck.
It was really cool. Yeah. And even though they throw in some of those, it was one of those where, you hope that all the funny moments aren't in the trailer, and they're not.
Right.
And even the jokes that are in the trailer, you hear them again in the movie, and they're still funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that whole shot where he's walking with him in the street, and the kid's like, you can hear him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh yeah, I can hear him, Pika Pika. And he's like, they can't hear me, kid. He's like, I'm trying to tell you this.
Yeah.
That is still one of my favorite lines, just because he's talking and then it cuts and he's like, Pika Pika.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, Pika Pika. And he's like, they have no idea what I'm saying. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think it's going to be big enough to warrant a sequel. I would like to know how you're going to do it, though, without spoiling anything.
Right.
It's tough. It doesn't quite leave anything open for a sequel.
You'd have to do some other story with, I don't know, he and Pikachu teamed up somehow. But
yeah,
it's all in Ryan Reynolds being the voice of Pikachu. I think is what makes that thing work.
Yeah. So without saying anything else, so that we don't ruin Detective Pikachu for you, but it's kind of difficult.
And this too, I think Eric made a point. We did a tangent from Eric's point about the movies never being as good as the book, and then we went down and made a list of has there ever been a good video game turned into a movie where the movie is any good?
Yeah.
And the answer is universally no, except maybe till now.
Yeah, and yeah, I would go with that route because you know what, we can.
Right, like Street Fighter, the video game's terrible.
I'll tell you what, for the second show, what I wrote down before, and then let's jump into the video game discussion.
Okay.
And we can throw a few of them in there. It'll kind of extend the episode a bit.
Done.
And then if we want to go to like a part 2 when Eric is here for his input, we can do that too.
Okay.
But sorry, Eric. We can't save everything for when you're here. So that's that one. Yeah, Detective Pikachu was really good. I liked it a lot. So I'm glad you guys went to see it. Now, the next ones that, I guess for movies, I have not yet seen John Wick Chapter 3, but it's number 1 in the box office, and they've already greenlit number 4.
I've been reading.
Yeah, so, that was the first thing. Of course, I didn't click on the article, so I don't know what truth there is to it, but the article said it was already like, yes, we're doing it. So,
what made
I don't know.
It made $58 million in its first week, right? So if it even does half of that again next week,
should be fine.
You'll be close to, you're on the way to a blockbuster. What sort of counts as blockbuster number?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'll get you a fourth movie.
Yeah, and it looks cool. I mean, I love the first two. So
I don't know how many.
You still haven't seen them, right?
I've seen parts of a couple of them in different. Like I've never seen
There's
them all the way to.
I've seen parts of a couple of them, like it's fucking Fast and Furious. There's 2. Now there's 3.
I was flying back from somewhere, and the person in this. So I'm like on the edge. I'm in the aisle, and the person on the aisle, one up, other side, is watching John Wick. So I can see it. I can see it perfectly. I can't hear it, but I don't think you have to. I sort of understood what was happening. A bunch of people are chasing him around and shooting at him. Okay.
Yeah. The biggest thing for the first one, the biggest thing is you need to see the reason why he's on a rampage. Once you get through that part, then you don't need any sound at all.
Yeah.
But so I haven't seen that yet. I want to see it. That's out right now. And then this coming weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I'm so freaking busy. I'm not going to get to the movies. But there are 2 coming out that we've both expressed interest in seeing. One is Aladdin.
Yeah.
I'm dying to see what happens with this thing. And then the other one is Brightburn.
Oh, yeah.
That they both come out this coming weekend on the 24th. And I'm like, I don't know.
Be able to see them.
Yeah, I'm too freaking busy. Friday we've got possibly the neighbors coming over for dinner. And Saturday we have the party for the football team.
Yeah.
The kids' football team. The season's over, and we're having a celebratory season-ending party at my house. So the whole team will be here Saturday. So we'll do that, and then Sunday we've got my wife's cousin coming over. We're just busy.
Yeah,
running around like nuts.
I think the wives are going to commiserate, or all the player moms are going to commiserate about Coach Twiggenberry's and how my wife got in his face and almost started a fight.
Oh, yeah. Or almost got me into a fight.
Yeah.
Did she tell you that part?
She did.
Yeah. So, so to, I guess, make a long, miserable story short, we've spoken at length about how good, the boys' football team is. They are one of the top 2 teams there. And they're good. They're just good together overall. And in my eyes, they truly played their rivals the week before.
Yeah.
And we won.
Yep.
So it was just the way the scores laid and the stats. So we played what was the Ravens now, and we beat them. So we went against the Browns. The Browns, one of their coaches, the big guy, John, his son and my son were on a team a few seasons back. Really nice guy. Yeah. I like him a lot. The head coach that we call Twiggenberries, because he doesn't wear any underwear and he wears sweatpants and he lets that shit fly. Just, hey, I guess if you can,
and here's what's funny. All of the player moms have started hanging out and texting each other and becoming friends. And it's one of the moms that gave him that name. And
yeah, I don't know if it was my wife or your wife or Teresa.
Yeah.
But one of the three of them, I think, they were heavily involved in that.
And so at the end of this game, I mean, our team lost. It was a close game.
Or I think it might have been my fault.
Oh,
I think they were talking about him, and I walked by and I said, who, Twiggenberries?
Yeah.
And Gail about peed herself on the side. She was like, what did you call him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, okay, there you go. It was my fault. I gave him the nickname. Because I'm a dick.
It was a really close game. Anyway, end of the game, and this is, again, you got to remember, 7-year-olds playing flag football, and a lot of the parents of our players thought that he was disrespectful and he was jumping up and down a little much.
It was very excessive.
Yeah, and
he was cheering.
And they didn't like. They thought it was disrespectful, and so
our team lost by a touchdown.
Yeah,
and now going back over the rules and everything. Have you heard about those texts?
I have not.
We've gone over the rules, and our team. What had happened was one of our players crossed the line. And one ref called it a touchdown, another ref didn't, and they were arguing back and forth. It was a big fucking kerfuffle back and forth.
And a third ref came out of nowhere who wasn't reffing the game, just happened to be watching it.
Yeah, he just walked by. Apparently he's the head ref. But he went walking by and was like, no, it's not a touchdown. Because what they said was they count the player crossing the plane, not the ball, right? When you look up the rules, it's the ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we should have had that touchdown.
Yeah.
We should have either tied or gone into overtime or whatever. So yes, it sucks. It teaches the kids not everything goes your way.
Yeah.
And it's fine. That's all well and good. The biggest problem most of us had, my wife Heather put out right away, was when they said no, it's not a touchdown. Twice that guy jumped up and down like an animal.
Yeah.
Just cheering, which. It's one thing, even our head coach and you on the field, if something goes your way, you clap, you fist pump, whatever, you get into it. But that was highly excessive, highly. So after the game, I was standing next to your wife, and he went walking by,
and I was still on the other side of the field talking to the other ref who had called it a touchdown.
Yeah, you were over there handling business, and so Gail decided as he was going by, he was smirking, saying something. And what I didn't hear either, Heather told me later that she didn't see it, but all the other moms saw him do it when we were cheering our team on. And then it was like earlier in the game. He was standing close to them on the sideline. We were cheering everybody on. And then one of their guys made a good play, and he turned around and looked right at all of them and clapped his hands, smirking.
Oh, wow.
So he's just a smarmy asshole, right? So, look, I'm a very sarcastic asshole. There's a difference between being a sarcastic asshole and just being a smug prick. Yeah. There you go. That's what he is. He's a smug prick, right? And I can't stand a smug prick. Just let the kids play, do their thing. Yeah. I'm the loudest one out there, screaming my head off, But I'm also not a coach, which I've said time and again. This is why I don't coach, so I can sit here yelling. He shouldn't be celebrating like that. He's supposed to, when you look through the rules, he's supposed to enforce no over-celebrating and no arguing between parents and this and that, whatever. So when he walked by, I guess he kind of gave a smirk again as he was going by because everybody was talking. And Gail
got right in his mug.
Just looked right at him and said, you're not a very good coach.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to win gracefully or something like that. And he got about 5 more steps, and then he kind of turned around and looked at her. It was like, I'm not a good coach, and that's what he fixed on.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been doing this all year. Well, yeah, shittily.
Right.
So I looked at it because now I got, I got wind of him turning around because he turned around, he took a step back.
Yeah.
And your wife was on my left, and he was coming from the right, and his wife kind of pushed him on the chest and looked over her shoulder. It was like, well, you guys should learn how to lose gracefully. So then I reiterated, well, maybe you guys should freaking learn how to win gracefully.
Right.
But he looked like he was going to step again. And I was like, please, for the love of God, I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. I will get locked up. I was like, I'm going to deck this son of a bitch.
Right.
And especially I'm like, you're across the field. This guy's coming back after your wife. I'm like, really? I was like, okay, I'll be a huckleberry.
Right.
That's cool. Look, none of the husbands are here. They're all over here because they're coaching.
Right.
I'm the one over here, so whatever. I'm about to whoop your ass. It's been a long time since I got to punch somebody. It's going to be great. And then his wife pushed him away. I was like, all right, whatever. He's gone. So, yeah. Now, as far as all that went, because I know the owner, we were just talking for a minute, and I was like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and he was like, "Yeah, that'll be handled." I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
So hopefully he will not be back next year. If he is, we're just gonna have to train our kids really hard to put it right down his throat.
And my wife will take that week off.
Yeah. Like I said, look, I can afford Bond once. I'm just, I got no problem with it. I got excited. Right. I was like, God, I haven't done this in a long time. It's gonna be great.
Here we go.
Like, when you're watching a UFC fight, you're like, ooh, something's about to happen. Yeah, that's what right for a second, my ass puckered up. Like, here we go. This is gonna be great. Where are you going? All right, whatever.
That's a lot of 7-year-old flag football talk right there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, most of it's me wanting to punch somebody in the face. I was pissed about that game for a long time. Not as pissed as the wives, apparently, because they were emailing each other back and forth about the rules and shit. Yeah, well, it turned out it looks like we probably should have won that damn game. Oh, well. All right, so moving on. I don't even know what the hell we were talking about before that. We're talking about John Wick. Yeah. Jesus. How the hell we go from John Wick to punching the coach in the face?
I don't know.
Whatever. There you go. We don't even have Captain Tangent here. Look at that. All right, so yeah, and then you got Aladdin and Brightburn coming out this weekend.
That's gonna be awesome.
I can show you the world. That's about it for that. I think before we get into anything from Memorial Day, we should talk about this.
2 big stories.
Yeah, one for the streaming.
Yeah. So, all right, 2 big headlines.
Because you sent me that headline, but I gotta actually subscribe to the Washington Post, to the New York.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal has a story, and this is crazy.
That one.
And this, I've been through sort of a range of feelings about this story, and so we can talk about that here. But this headline from the Wall Street Journal from May 18th, top live streamers get $50,000 an hour to play new video games online. Subheadline, publishers pay to have celebrity-like streamers play their new releases live to build buzz, lift sales.
Yeah, because of the online Fortnite shit. I saw that, and then I couldn't read any more of the article.
Yeah. The world's biggest video game publishers are paying popular gamers tens of thousands of dollars to play their latest releases live over the internet, hoping to break through to buyers in a crowded industry where dominant games like Fortnite cast a long shadow.
All right, so there what you've got is, you've got you guys who have maybe probably a couple million subscribers on Twitch or something.
Yeah.
So it's not like someone like me and you can jump on Twitch and make $50,000.
Well, it's that. I think my first reaction was, that's crazy. Why does somebody who plays video games deserve to get $50,000 an hour? And I feel like my parents or even my grandparents, when they hear about artists or musicians or comic book artists or something else, there's
paid.
Yeah. There's always a generation that looks at the next generation and goes, well, that's ridiculous.
Right.
You read about that kid Ryan from Ryan's World on YouTube who makes $22 million. Oh
my God. Yeah, it's crazy.
And you're like, that's crazy. And then you think, well, if somebody wants to pay him, why not? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that our parents reacted to, we read comic books and they're like, what, writers of comic books make a bunch of money or artists or somebody else?
Yeah.
That's not a real job. Go work in a factory.
Right.
And then our grandparents, to musicians or something else, that's not a real job. Go on the farm.
Right.
And so there's always this, one generation thinking that the way the next generation makes money is wrong or overinflated or something else. But to your point, I think there's only a handful of these people making this kind of money.
Yeah, so most of them are, well, like I've said time and again, with what my overall vision was for an entertainment network. It wasn't just a podcast. We need to do YouTube and this and that, whatever, to kind of reach a broader audience. It's still going to be a good amount of work.
Right.
Now, my idea had merit as far as, what people will be looking to watch, because it kind of covered a good amount of people as far as what we're talking about now, plus living in Orlando or what have you. So I think even now, as the three of us slowly progress into what we're doing, and we got kind of get into a rhythm, we stand a better chance of maybe not making enough money to cover all three of us, but possibly making enough money to at least make this, buy tickets to here or there, whatever. Right. I think we have a chance of making some money on this thing. But and then you get the it was just a shot in the pan, or all of a sudden, somebody listens to us or retweets something or whatever, and then next thing you know, we've got thousands of people listening to us wanting to send us money. Yeah. Okay, that's what happens with a lot of these guys. So, sure, it could happen. Yeah. I think there's still a good chance of it happening, but yeah, I really think it's only a handful on Twitch right now, and I've never set foot on Twitch. I know somebody I spoke to previously when we were talking about working all this out, they said we should look into Twitch as well. I don't know where a podcast falls in on all that shit. I mean, I can look into it and try to figure it out while I still have some time off. But yeah, I only think it's a handful of people that are making that much money. But even like on the YouTube thing, if you look up like on Social Blade, like that kid Ryan is making a shit ton of money, but then you get a handful of them that are doing videos on a regular basis, and
they're doing good.
They're doing okay.
And I think I love the idea that almost anybody can make a video, get it on YouTube, make a podcast, do their thing. Like, there's no longer this gatekeeper of, well, I've got to be the right person, or I've got to do the right thing. I've got to come from the right family, be in the right industry, do the right stuff, go to the right school. There's no more of that sort of, you wait to be discovered, like in the old days.
Yeah, you just push it out there.
Right. You do your stuff.
Fucking gnats flying around. I'm going to get them.
You do your stuff, and if people react to it, then good things can follow. And so, will everybody who plays video games, there are millions of people playing video games. There's a dozen making this kind of money.
Sure.
So I think sometimes people, you could be in high school and look at that story and see people make $50,000 playing an hour playing video games, and your parents go, well, what are you going to do with your life? And you hold the article and go, I'm about to make $50,000 an hour.
Right.
You're probably not.
You're not.
You should probably go to school.
Right.
Figure something out. And if that works out for you, great.
Definitely have a backup plan.
Right.
Because look, here, at my age, and I grew up playing video games, we've hit a point where when I get online, I'm like, I know I'm about to get my ass kicked. I'm getting shot left and right.
Yeah.
So if I get 3 kills that night, I'm like, hey, look at that. I did pretty good. I know I'm not making money doing that shit.
Yeah.
But when I was looking for a job, one of the first things that popped up on Google was, make money playing video games and doing this and that. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, the idea is nice.
Yeah. But
how good do you have to be to make it viable? Like, I'm good enough to get by.
Yeah.
But now again, if you for the just playing video games and getting paid to play video games or whatever, like that article that you got, or like the ad I got when I was looking for a job, you have to be pretty decent.
Right.
Now, if you flip it on what we're doing here as a podcast and, eventually YouTube or whatever, when we talk about adding in, like, playing video games with the kids, or we do something stupid like you and I or the three of us sit down and play a game and record it, just for shits and giggles,
right.
Just for entertainment value. Now that overall could make money, because it's funny. It's not, it's not trying to make money on skill. It's making money out of the fact that we don't know what the hell we're doing. Something like that is cool,
And there's some personality I think plays a part in this too. Like, lots of people are good at video games.
Sure.
Not everybody wants to follow, log into Twitch and watch them play something.
Right.
Yeah, there's some personality aspect to it too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So look, good on you if you can make $50,000 an hour.
That's right.
Jeez. Look,
I'm here for you to do it.
You can pay me $50,000 a year, and I'll. Oh, play video games. All right. So so that's a live streamer. The other article, Batman. Patta, 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 patta. I don't know. Well, all right. So first, you sent me the article, and I had just read it when you sent, like right before you sent it to me, that they had signed Robert Pattinson, aka Twilight, to play Batman in the 2021 The Batman. Then you said we have to talk about this, and I said I agree. I'm pretty sure you said you were going to be sick, and then Eric said, why don't we just sign whoever else? I forget who the hell he said.
Yeah.
But then I said, yeah, no, now I threw up. So he was just going down a rabbit hole with signing stupid actors or whatever. But the next article I read was Warner Brothers came out and said, slow down, we do not have a deal. And then Pattinson, I guess somebody got a hold of him, and he said, I can't talk about it.
Right.
So to me, that's all code for somebody found out that they were talking to him and jumped on the article and said, hey, now Warner Brothers, of course, is not going to say that, probably because of the backlash that we're talking about. But I think most of it is just them not wanting to show their hand yet. So I'm sure he's going to be it.
Comic nerds are mad.
I know. But now I did hear, and I think one time when we first started talking about the Batman and his name first started revolving around, and you and I, rightfully so, cast Zac Efron, and nobody listened to us. I had heard the Robert Pattinson thing. And you were like, really, the Twilight guy? And I said, a podcast I had listened to, they had the same exact conversation, and they said, now you have to go beyond Twilight and see what else he's done.
Right. And
you may get behind it a little bit more. And there's an article, and maybe what I'll do is, like, later on, it's a Screen Rant article. So there you go. Shout out for Screen Rant. It's one of the ones I read a lot of, I guess. It's the 10 Robert Pattinson movies to watch that prove he's ready to be Bruce Wayne.
He's been in 10 movies?
Yeah, I guess. And not one of these is Twilight. So there you go. But there's like Water for Elephants, Damsel, that was last year. I don't know what the hell that is. Bellamy. There's a bunch of movies in here. Maps to the Stars. So they're basically just saying, like, you need to go watch these and then form your opinion. So while I don't want to watch a whole bunch of these movies because they don't really seem like they're in my wheelhouse, I'll go and I'll IMDb him and I'll probably pick something between now and the weekend. I want to do at least like one or two movies just because, I mean, okay, I don't just watch geek shit. I mean, I watch all kinds of shit, so I can get behind a good movie. I just have to see what... I'm not just going to specifically go watch a whole bunch of shit with him in it just to see how he is as an actor.
Right.
You got to at least have some interest in it. So I'll go check out his IMDb filmography shit. I'll pick out two that I think I'll like. And then I'll sit down and I'll watch. And then I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to withhold because... Go ahead.
So I initially was like, Edward from Twilight, no way. And then you got to think, okay, just because he was in that and they wanted him to be that character doesn't mean he can't be any other character. And then I remember, and we talked about this when the very first Batman movie came out in 1989.
That was what I was about to say. Go ahead.
Is people lost their minds over that? Like, how can you cast Mr. Mom as Batman?
Oh.
And Michael Keaton did a great job.
Yep. And then it happened again.
Yep.
Heath Ledger.
Right.
The Joker.
Because he'd come off Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't have...
The dude from 10 Things I Hate About You and Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah,
really?
that guy can't be the Joker.
And he won a friggin' posthumous Oscar.
Right.
Because he was that good.
Yeah.
Okay. Even Affleck. Everyone had a shit ton to say about him. And to me, I don't think he had enough time or he didn't have a chance to actually show you what he could do with the role.
Right.
You know, he didn't have his own movie. They didn't let him, because he was coming in like he was ready to write, direct, and star in the whole thing.
Because BVS is not a sole Batman movie, and it's not that good.
Right, and that's what it's
Yeah.
not good. So if you're gonna put, so you can't blame Ben Affleck because the first thing everyone said was, "Dude, he sucked in Daredevil." Yeah, but then again, was it just him?
Right. Right.
Because the whole movie kind of sucked. So, yeah, I don't blame him. I've seen him in enough shit to be like, oh, okay, But again, when everybody else was, he's gonna be Batman, I'm like, I'd give Affleck a shot.
Yeah.
To me, so far, I liked him probably the best so far in the little bit that I saw him. He wasn't given much, and what he was given was tainted by the story around him. But I think that the little bit, outside of the fact that they pretty much made him gay for Superman coming back, that one look on his face, I was just like, really? Did they go that route?
You're thirsty.
Yeah. He's just all excited that Superman was back. Come on, dude. But outside of that, I really, really want to see what Affleck was going to do. So, on that note, with all of the naysaying on all of those other actors, I'm just going to hold on. And I'm like, all right. Plus, they did say there's no deal yet.
But he's got
full of shit. But okay,
he's got time to get jacked, right? Because he's going to have to fill out to be Batman.
Yeah.
So he's got plenty of time to do that. And you think about, what had Chris Evans been in before becoming
Captain America?
Right. He was in not another teen movie.
That was the other complaint.
Right. And he was
the Human Torch.
The Human Torch. Fantastic.
And everybody was
not
like,
a good
really?
movie. Right.
Really? He's going to be
Which was
Captain
also
America?
not a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So there were plenty of times when people were like,
Robert Downey Jr.'s career was over. Robert Downey Jr. was an addict, junkie, out of Hollywood.
All anybody thought of him.
Right.
And then Iron Man shows up.
And he kills it.
So who knows? I look, again,
And the other way, you take George Clooney, who everybody seems to love. When George Clooney got cast as Batman, everybody's like, oh, George Clooney's going to be Batman. That's going to be awesome. He's going to make a great Bruce Wayne.
I got the other one. It was kind of like the other way. Like, really? The guy from ER? Like, the only one that I thought from that era that everybody was behind was Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
And
that's not good.
Clooney, yeah. That one. Oh. That was just
but those
vehicle for Jim Carrey to run around like an idiot.
Yeah, and those are the era of bat nipples and the whole...
Yeah. Oh, that was Clooney.
Yeah.
Well, both of them. I think both of them had him, right?
I think so.
I forget. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so those, people, you get excited about stuff and I don't know. I think he can do it. I'd have to get past it's Edward from Twilight.
Yeah. Yes, so do I. I'm going to give it a shot. To be continued on that one.
Right.
That one's going to be interesting. I don't know about that.
There's going to be a lot of milestones, though, in this thing. From the time they sign him, there's going to be shots of the suit.
Yeah.
How does he look in the suit? How is he sort of physically filling out? Is he going to be, buff enough to be Batman, or will it all be padding in the suit?
Yeah, you'll see. Hopefully, if he's working out well enough to to get swole, I guess.
Right.
Somebody will leak footage of him working out, or something. You know what I mean? Something like. Again, DC is not always the best at marketing, or Warner Brothers or whoever it is. I don't know who over there is to blame, but on this podcast alone, we've fixed their universe 3 or 4 times. So get it together. I don't know how this is going to pan out, but if the marketing kind of gets it right, I think they can save it, and I think they can kind of put a spin on it. Because you've got Shazam. Who the hell wanted to see a Shazam movie? It was great. Yeah. So it looked like they were turning the right way. So let's see if they still turn.
Aquaman. The longest Hollywood joke was because they made an Aquaman in Entourage, right? And that was a spoof of Hollywood, and it was. The thought was ridiculous. You'd make a standalone Aquaman movie. Come on.
Yeah, and then they make it. It makes $1 billion.
Right.
Yeah. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know what to think. But I'm gonna withhold judgment. I'm gonna try to watch a little bit more away from Edward. See what the hell he can do. So either way, again, like always, I don't root for anything to be bad. I'm very wary of their decision making. Right. So we'll see. And then I guess finally, the only other thing we got to talk about is we are leading into Memorial Day. So on Memorial Day, because especially as a 20-year Navy veteran, I like to watch some older, not always older, but some different war movies or movies about the military. And I know Eric and I have both made jokes about certain movies that you can just see they didn't do any research or they get it wrong,
Right.
So there's a handful of them. I just wrote down a bunch of the ones that I like. If I pick and choose one or two during the weekend, depending on how busy I am, I try to watch it. But do you have any that come to mind that you like to watch?
That are good?
Yeah.
There's a movie that it really seems like two different movies at once. We used to watch the opening part of this when I was in college, like twice a week, and just it isn't supposed to be funny, but it ends up being kind of funny. Is Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah,
which is an amazing movie,
and it is essentially two different movies.
It feels like two different movies.
The acts get separated very concretely.
Like Boot Camp with Gunnery Sergeant Hartman is one that's got a different feel and tone and everything to it, and then they get to Vietnam and it's completely, and then the whole thing sort of changes.
Yeah, it's definitely got a very comedic tone with him in it. He was brilliant.
And they don't meet, and Arlie Ermy, who plays Sergeant Hartman, who was an actual drill instructor, doesn't, like, it's not supposed to be funny, but when he's on Private Pile, and he's like, you're nothing but an organized, grabastic piece of amphibious shit, like, that's awesome. All of that is amazing.
Everything he does. Now, and I'd have to go back and double check, like fact check myself on this one, but do you remember how he got the job?
No.
He wasn't an actor. From what I remember.
I think I've read that.
He was on there just as advisor, like an advisory type of position.
Right.
And like he went and got in their faces trying to show them how to do it, and they were like, "Screw it, you're in." That's what I read. I'm almost 100% sure that it's correct.
Yeah. But
I seem to recall, like, one of those, like, things you believe are true and not really true.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Luke, I am your father. But I think that one's true, and which to me is amazing because, like, that's really the only time or the only type of thing you ever see him doing.
Yeah.
But from what I can see, like, he was outside of that. What you see is like you always see that he was such a great guy, and then like you see him doing that shit. And just the, holy shit, a jelly donut.
Right.
What the f***
Are you allowed to eat jelly donuts, Private Pile? Sir, no, sir. Why not? I'm a little heavy. Bullshit, you're a disgusting fat body.
You're a fat body, Private Pile. Oh my God, I love that.
It's great. We used to in my fraternity house, we used to sit and watch that. Like, we'd watch just the scene up until Hartman, spoiler alert, gets shot by Private Pile.
Spoiler alert.
And
I am in a world
of
shit.
and we just, like, it's sort of funny. Like, it's not meant to be funny. It's not filmed comedically or anything else. It's sort of like when he's in your face, it's very confrontational and very sort of dark almost.
And it's very accurate. Very accurate. But, because he was one. Everything they did in that movie was like 100% accurate. It was great. So that is definitely one of the ones that I love.
Yeah.
That whole first act I love. I do love the rest of the movie, but to your point of it feeling like two different movies, I knew right what you were going to say as soon as you started with the two different movies. Because it definitely jumps into the Vietnam thing and Joker in Vietnam, and not DC. The guy's nickname is Joker. It's a completely different feel and tone because now you're in a war movie. The original or the first act or so is very comedic, but it's also the most memorable. Mm-hmm. Almost nobody ever quotes anything from that Vietnam part of the movie. It's everything from the front. Yeah. It's always with Private Pile and all that shit. it's always that, you know. So yeah, I love that.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, I think that's like top of my list. I'm gonna try to watch sometime between now and the end of the weekend. Platoon, I love Platoon.
Yeah.
It's a deep movie too. Just the where your loyalties lie, kind of thing. You know, as far as the the race card and all this shit. You know, like that's just prevalent in the Vietnam era. You know, where it shows kind of like Charlie Sheen's character is kind of pulled in two different directions by the different commands in his squad. It's really cool. I like that one. You got Saving Private Ryan is a really good one. I like that one a lot. Lone Survivor is one of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I like that one a lot. And then one of my favorite ones that I've watched like multiple times with my father, so I watch it at least like once a year, is We Were Soldiers.
Is that Mel Gibson?
That's Mel Gibson.
I've never seen it.
That amazing. I think I have it somewhere. If I don't, I mean, you can find it online pretty easy. But it's just really good. Yeah. And it's another one of those Vietnam era movies. He's put in charge of a bunch of green new guys, training them just to get into Vietnam with them.
Yeah.
And it's about them taking a hill, and it's a phenomenal movie. And it's a lot of like seeing him as this general or whatever he is, and it's against the Vietnam equivalent, and it's the two of them kind of strategically outmaneuvering each other,
right.
It's a lot of that shit. And then it's also on top of that, it's that, my boys are up here on this hill, whatever, that kind of feeling. It really tugs at you. It hits hard.
Yeah.
So I like that one. And then the other one that I love to watch, it's not really a movie per se. It's a series, but it's Band of Brothers.
Oh, that was amazing.
It was ridiculously good. So many people in it.
Yeah.
And Vin Diesel's in it.
Yeah.
It's like just like
Donnie Wahlberg's in it.
Yeah, everybody. The guy I can never remember his name, but he played Damien Dark in Arrow and the blonde guy. He was in Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, he's in.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he's in a bunch of shit.
He's in The Last Ship, right? Is that him on TBS or TNT? That's one of those guys.
I think he's in there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of guys in this show, and I love that show.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those, like, every time I get, like, like here, Game of Thrones just ended, I'll probably sit down and watch that. I'll have to watch it by myself because nobody else will watch it with me.
So when that was out, that was, I was single. I had a couple of roommates. They're brothers. The three of us lived together. And, I mean, it was sort of fraternity house living style, like pizza boxes and whatever, even though we were in our mid-30s. And
it happens.
Yeah. And so that was pre-social media, but still appointment TV when that came on. Like everything stopped and we watched that show.
Yeah.
And you're just like, holy crap, this is an amazing show.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was
David Schwimmer's in that.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
Ross from Friends. Yeah.
The faces are popping.
Yeah.
As she's talking. Yeah. So yeah, it was just overall, it was really good.
Yeah.
And just to watch it, especially because they cut back and forth with like actual vets.
Yeah.
Talking,
yeah.
And then so it gave that real.
And then as you do it, because they have the actual soldiers themselves talk at the beginning of every episode, you start to try to do the thing where you're like, okay, who is that? Because they don't name them until the very end. Yeah. Like they don't tell you this one's Major Winners and this one's so and so and this one's Joe Toy. They never tell you that, and so you're trying to figure out like by accent or by something else who these guys are. Noah.
Yeah, look, right at the end of the show, Noah's gonna come say blah, blah, blah. I can't talk tonight. Noah's gonna say goodnight for me, right?
Good night.
Good night. So hey, tell everybody we have a big weekend, right?
Yeah.
You have your football party on Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We're gonna play in the pool. It's gonna be a nice, cool 95 degrees on Saturday. All right, buddy. Love you. See you in the morning. There we go. Wow, look at that. We went pretty good. We're sitting at like an hour 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there you go. And we wrapped it up with Noah saying goodnight.
Right.
So well, all right. So, but on Band of Brothers, I didn't have too much more on that one. I know we were right in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, no, you're just trying to figure out, like, okay, who is that based on either accent or they give something else away, and you're like, okay, well, that's that one and that's that one. So that was pretty cool. And you get to see them go through essentially not the entire war, but from the time that they get there until right the war ends, and then some of them rotate out, and some get hurt, and it's in some war movies and in some things, dramas about war. You're like, okay, I'm pretty sure so and so is not going to get killed because he's the star.
Right.
It's such an ensemble that you can't get too attached to any one of these people because you know something's bad's going to happen.
Yeah. So, can you think of any others?
I mean, you can't make a list of great war movies without including Patton.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
I steered away from a couple of the obvious ones. Just, I mean, well, everything on my list to me is obvious, so it was kind of like, but you got Patton, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. You want to, I don't know. You want to.
Have you ever seen The Longest Day? Which is a massively long movie, but it's about the D-Day invasion.
Yeah, I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But there you go. So if you want to celebrate Memorial Day, and side note, so a comment Heather made, because both of us are retired Navy veterans. She made a comment earlier that made me laugh. It was the other day. She said, "Oh yeah, Memorial Day is coming up. Time for me to get ready for my what is it, her static response to, no, Memorial Day is for those that fell."
Right.
I'm like, I just kind of just let it go, because what happens a lot is, for those that don't know, Memorial Day is supposed to be for all the vets that actually died.
Correct.
Okay. Veterans Day is for people like me and my wife,
right.
Or whatever, right? So now, because most people don't know, I just, okay, thank you.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, they'll be like, Happy Memorial Day, thank you for your service. And I'm like,
Memorial Day is about those that aren't here anymore.
Yeah, so depending on my interaction with the person, I may just go, okay, thank you. And just because I'm not going to change anything by sitting here having a spiel about, because I also don't want to come off preachy either. So just depending on who I know, or like what I'll do is, like, on Facebook, I'll be like, this Memorial Day, please remember to say a prayer for those fallen, my fallen brothers and sisters, yada yada, whatever, that kind of thing. And then I'm lucky enough to be here, and I'll celebrate on Veterans Day, whatever. So it's one of those, like, it's a touchy thing, but it's like, to me, I'm like, your intentions are good,
right?
So I just, okay, thanks, whatever. Just like Heather and I both, whenever we run into somebody, if they'll do the all veterans please stand, or whatever. Okay, so we'll stand, keep cheering. There's always somebody right there that'll turn and say, well, thank you for your service. And she always how do you respond to that? I'm like, I just say, well, thank you. I just, thank you. Okay, because I don't know what to say either. Like, you're welcome sounds like I'm the smug asshole dancing in the end zone last Saturday. So,
you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was there. It's good. Thank God for me. That's fucked up. So I'm just like, I just go, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and then that's how I leave it. Thank you for the opportunity to do it. I don't know. Whatever. It's kind of one of those awkward things. It's kind of funny, but it's a niche conversation that, like, vets just go, how do you, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
So remember, Memorial Day is for the those that fell, and say a little prayer for their families that they're doing okay. And whatever bomb just dropped, Speaking of falling, that's it. So there you go.
Right.
Hit us up. Let
Good
us
show.
know. Yeah, that wasn't bad at all. Once I learned how to speak English here and there, I'm stuttering the last few days. Great. Yay, old age is fun. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Email us at whatifgeeks@gmail.com. There's a ghost. My son is running around.
A heavy-footed ghost.
Yeah, that's that's the ginger ghost going to bed. He's just running to bed now. He must be running around messing with his mother. So yeah, hit us up on email. Let us know what your favorite military movies
Yeah.
are, and what you think about Robert Pattinson possibly being Batman.
Bat-inson.
Robert Pattinson.
There you go.
That's it. I'm done. All right, I'm sold. He's gonna be it now. He cannot be any worse than Val Kilmer.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. Well, maybe. We'll see. All right, hit us up. Let us know what you guys think and what else you guys want us to talk about. That's about it.
All right.
Later, guys.
Good night.
Good night, Mom.
Good night, Tony.
We did that backwards.
That's what she said.